My name is Gage. I drive a '07 Chevy Cobalt SS. Let's finish this up and go for a ride.
That's like awesome.
My name is Gage. I drive a '07 Chevy Cobalt SS. Got it back when I was 18 and roughly June of 2018, right before I moved to Ohio for college. When I got it though, it was pretty much bone stock. All it had was a exhaust and some lowering springs on it. Honestly, I never expected it to get to the point to where it's at now. How it sits now is a fully built motor, a built head, ported valves, springs, the whole nine. Transmission's been swapped. It's turbo swapped. It used to be supercharged, and it makes roughly 500 to the wheels now, 475 in that range. This car has kind of brought me a long way. It's done a lot for me and a lot for their side business and Excite in itself. It's actually, when I started in Ohio, this was all I had when I came up here, and I didn't really know what was going to end up entailing this car. I know I wanted to keep it because of the sentimental aspect. It was the last thing I got from my grandfather before he passed. It's always stuck with me since. I learned a lot on this. This thing was my test mule for everything at UNOH. It got through so many people, so many trial and error runs, and it's been a hell of a project ever since. But thankfully, it's finally to a point to where I can say I'm almost actually done with it, which is weird. I don't really know what else is left to do to it unless I throw more power at it or do more suspension work. But as of now, the engine and transmission's it's set, it's done for now. So when I bought this car, I couldn't drive it. I didn't even know how to drive a manual. We went and looked at it, and my dad was with me. He test drove it. I just rode in the back seat. And actually, he spun the tires in first gear, and me being the little giddy high school kid I was, that was so fun. I looked at him and said, "Yeah, we need this one. This car will be the one." And I only had maybe a month before I moved to Ohio from Florida for college, and we needed to find something reliable to drive, especially for 16 hours. So my dad drove it on the test drive. He drove it home. We got back to the house, and he hands me the key and said, "All right, it's your turn. Go figure out how to drive it. If you wanted it, go find it, go figure it out, go learn it." With this thing, so I did try to learn on a '06 Scion TC, which that was way better. That thing was a lot easier. It came right off the line with no issues. But this thing being supercharged and I guess a performance car for the early 2000s or late 2000s, it was kind of touchy. For somebody that's never drove stick before, yeah, the clutch was a little grabby, and the supercharger makes it to where you didn't even have to hit the gas pedal. It just had enough low-end torque; it'll just creep off the line with no issue. But it grabbed hard for a stock clutch. And then I say that now, and now I'm dealing with a race clutch that grabs like a light switch. I actually signed with UNOH I came out here on the bowling team, and they signed a scholarship for me, and I came out here solely because I had a friend out here the year prior, and he said, "Dude, we work on cars all the time. It's cool. You learn how to build race cars, and your degree pretty much teaches you how to build a car from the ground up." It's like, oh, that's awesome. I love cars. Let's put them together. And I love tuning, and I like doing computer work. So the cars, the tuning, and everything, it kind of just fell into place. I came up here for a tour, and everything went really well. The coach was nice. Ended up signing with it, and then I started August of 2018 and graduated in June of 2021. When I did bring this car into Ohio, I came up here for bowling originally, so mainly everybody knew me up here because of bowling. But as time went on, I just ended up being the guy in lineman with the yellow Cobalt. Really quickly after I got up here, I got lucky enough to take it to the drag strip, and that was my first time ever at a drag strip. And I got to race, which was pretty neat. The car has probably seen anywhere between like 60 to 70 passes when it was supercharged. I haven't had it down the drag strip yet since it's been turboed, but it was really, really fun taking it down the track as a supercharged car. It was hard to launch, especially on the street tires, but you know, you live and you learn. So the first thing that this thing got parts-wise, or I guess modified, was I think I did a pulley swap on the supercharger, and I remember dropping down a pulley size and getting my new tune, and I thought this thing was about to be like the most fun, riotous car ever. We put the tune on and I put the pulley in, and first test drive, I'm like, this feels the same. So a tune and a pulley, it'll give you a little bit of power, but it's not gonna make you, you know, like crazy butt dyno, throw you back in the seat kind of power. After the pulley, I noticed that somebody said my intercooler pump wasn't functioning right. And at the time, I didn't know what they were talking about. I didn't know that this thing had separate cooling for the supercharger and, you know, all that stuff. I've never really dug into like a forced induction car until I got this thing. But I looked into it, the intercooler pump was dead, and my intake temperatures were hitting like 200 degrees. And I'm surprised this thing never did blow up. So I put a new intercooler pump in, and then we ended up doing all the cooling mods for it, like the front heat exchanger, the dual pass end plate for the manifold. There was an extra coolant tank that adds to the left side. And it went completely full bolt on and everything I possibly could for the supercharger, E85, meth injection, big fuel system, and all the whole nine, except without touching the motor. And it was a riot. It was a really, really fun car on the supercharger. I recommend it as a daily all the time. I just wasn't happy. I needed more power. It made maybe 280 to 300 at most on the supercharger, which around town, light to light, was absolutely amazing. It was a blast. I still miss the blower just for the whine. The supercharger whine was amazing. It ended up getting turbo swapped in June of 2021. And it was supposed to be like a quick over the weekend type job, and then we were gonna dyno it in class that next week. Well, nothing went as planned, and the turbo swap ended up lasting like a month. Did not get to dyno it, but I did have some fun with it. And it was, all I put on it at the time was like a factory KO4 turbo, just to get it at least swapped over and initially running. And even on that, it probably made maybe 330 wheel, in that range, 300 to 350 area on E85. It was a really fun car because that turbo lit like a light switch. It was so quick. But then time went on with that, and I wasn't really too happy with that either. I got a little taste of what real boost was like, and I wanted to go bigger. So I blew the first KO4 up, put a new one in, and I think that new one was in for maybe 200 miles, and I said, all right, time to throw a big turbo on. So I got super lucky on a deal, which I thought I got lucky. I bought a S252 turbo for 300 bucks. And I'm like, all right, sweet, this is a hell of a deal. Put turbo on and come to find out that it was blown. As soon as the car started, it just started smoking out the shop. The oil seals or turbo seals inside. I know turbo seals are a sensitive subject, but it started smoking out the garage. So I pulled that one off. The car sat for probably 3 months. Ended up getting super lucky on a really great deal and got a S257 turbo, which is actually what's on it now. Ever since then, it's been on the 57 mil, and it's been really, really fun. So the car is an 07, and the 05 to 07 models of the Cobalts came with a LSJ engine, and like I said, they were supercharged from factory. The 08 to 2010 models came with a engine that was an LNF, and those were already turboed from factory. They made a little bit more power, but they also had a couple more like quirks with them. The LSJ is like the more like sought out ecotech, just because it's very simple as port injection versus having direct injection. There's no VVT, so there's the cam timing and everything is very, very simple to do. Overall, the parts for the LSJ are just a lot easier to find, cheaper, and the maintenance on these things is very, very minimal. As long as there's oil in it, and it'll run. There's nothing really else to them. But since these things were originally supercharged, there was quite a bit I had to change over just to make it able to be turbo swapped. Like you have to change the thermostat housing, the water pump, inlet hose on the back, intake manifold, turbo manifold, all that fancy stuff. And then all the supercharger stuff, like the cooling mods, those were obsolete then. You take all the air to water stuff off and you go air to air with the turbo and put an intercooler on the front. It's been really fun though. Like I said, it's taught me a lot. I learned a lot about superchargers in general, a lot about how turbos work, and then just doing swaps alone. But the LSJ, now I guess it's considered an LSJ-T for LSJ Turbo. And in the Cobalt world, there's always that back and forth of like, oh, the LSJ versus LNF debate. And they both are great for their own thing. So it's just a matter of like what you want to do with the car, what your end goal would be. So like an LSJ can make power way easier. Just turbo swap it and throw boost at it and it'll do it, it'll take it. The LSJ can also handle about 500 comfortably, 550 if you know how to keep your torque down in the middle. Stock block will go for a while. The stock transmission though is where it's kind of limited. The F35 original transmission that comes in these is not very, very strong. It'll take some no lift shifting and all that, but don't expect it to hold 500 torque or anything crazy. It is still a front wheel drive car, so transmission gears aren't the best. I remember getting my first like real draggy run with it, and it went like 886, 60 to 130. And I thought the thing was moving. It felt great. And a couple weeks later, we were on our way home from a meet, and we were playing around a little bit. I gassed it on a really bad road and wheel hopped and completely blew the transmission apart into pieces. The differential exploded and shot gears out the side of the case. So the transmission blowing was like the start of all the bad luck, I guess. And then I got a new transmission in it. I put a F23 base model transmission in it actually, just for the better gearing. And since it has a little bit longer gearing, in theory, it's a little bit stronger just because it kills the torque in the middle a little bit more. But shortly after I got the new transmission in, I was casually just driving one day, and I have it on data log to show that it wasn't me playing around.
You sure about that?
That it just started rod knocking on my way home. The data log was just showing 810, 810, like stupid knock. And as soon as I shut it off, that was it. It didn't start back up. After tearing it apart, we found out that the oil pump gave out and I lost oil pressure. So it spun cylinder 3's main bearing. After the motor blew, it's probably sat for close to a year, sat for another 10 or 11 months. And then I ended up doing a rod and piston bottom end, and the bottom end was built and assembled by Calvinator Engines, local place here in Wapak. The head is actually off of a friend's car that has been helping me tremendously along the way. He's built probably half of this car on his own. But Zach had this red Cobalt that he was selling, and it was a completely bone stock car up except for the built head that he had on it. It was getting ready for a whole crazy supercharger build, but life happened and he had to sell it. But I looked at him, I said, dude, I really can't let you sell that car with a built head on it and just a stock motor. So I gave him my stock head and took the built head off of his. So the head has 82-pound SuperTech dual springs in it. There's 0.5 millimeter oversized valves. Has a really good port job from a Ecotech guy named Jamie Nelson. And it does have ZZP's like stage 2 turbo cams in it, just for a little bit of a low P idle and help the power band up top. Head also has ARP head studs. It's got diamond pistons, Molnar rods, but we did put epoxy in the block to help with the cylinder pressure up top. And actually TC Performance helped me out there with the epoxy on that one. Charge pipes will run down the side of the valve cover here, and then the driver's side pipe will actually go to the turbo. I have it flipped around just for a little bit, cleaner look, but the only thing that eliminates is I can't run a full cold air intake, so I just have like a mesh guard on the turbo. The block is actually out of a Saab. So I had a Saab 9.5, I think it was, that I parted out and saved the motor for it, because I knew at some point that the original motor in this was it has 230,000 miles on it. The original motor owed me absolutely nothing. It took its purpose. It took all the abuse at the drag strip, the tuning abuse and supercharger, the turbo swapping. We say so. The Saab 9.5 block is actually the exact same thing as the LSJ. The only difference that Saab did that Chevy didn't do was they kept it turboed, and Chevy just had some kind of idea to put a supercharger on it. Supercharger on a 4-cylinder was kind of crazy back then. But I mean, thinking about it for, late 2000s, you see a little 4-banger with a supercharger on it in 2005, that's pretty crazy. Yeah, everything else has been completely swapped. Like the turbo side, it's all custom work. We fabbed up the charge pipes, got the intake manifold was custom made. I think the guy only has maybe 10 to 20 of those intake manifolds out and about, but has 2200 cc injectors, billet fuel rail. It's a full stainless AN all the way, or feed and return line. This car has gotten me through a lot. I was at a semi-shitty point right after college. I was just working a paycheck to paycheck job and didn't really know what I wanted to do after I graduated. I looked around for a bit, but then this car is really the whole reason I'm still around here, and also the whole reason that everything is the way it is now for me. It's been a big part of my life. I've met a lot of people that I would consider family, honestly, because of this car. And even with Excite. So back when I originally met Preston, we were at the same area here. He just got Excite started up, and then I think it was like a couple weeks later, he said he wanted to start doing some stickers. And I told him, I was like, that's some side work that I'll do. I make stickers and shirts and apparel and stuff for the Excite group now. But at the time, I told him I did some sticker work on the side. So we started making stickers, and then Excite kept growing, and it was going great. We started looking into making shirts, and then shirts were selling great. Sticker banners started being a thing. And then 3 years down the road, we're still doing it. And we have our Excite Season 3 shirts now. Cars really opened up a lot of opportunities for me. I've been really thankful for the people I've met because of it. I started my own side business called DA Printworks, and that's where I do all the shirt printing, the stickers, and I also do 3D printing on the side. I'm starting to do some designing for car parts as well. It's been a really long journey. It's been a great, fun journey. The car as it sits now it's doing great. I tune it myself. I finally got the tune to a decent point where I feel comfortable beating on it and don't feel like something's gonna break or blow up every time you hit the gas. It was a long process to get there, but I don't regret any of it. It's been such a learning experience all along the way. So goals for it right now, I would say I just want it to stay stable around the 500, 550 wheel area. We're getting really close to it. I'm just working out the last few kinks before turning it up higher. Right now it's on 25 pounds and it's making roughly like 480 to 500 wheel. I don't really see it going too much farther than this in the future. It already has the built motor, the built head, the transmission swap and everything like that. I don't really know what else I could throw at it at this point. It's already drained my pocket pretty dry as it is. So the whole build journey was definitely a grind for this thing along the way. When I started actually digging into this thing, I was still working a college job, getting, living check to check, just making sure I had a few bucks to my name just to get food that week. And anytime that you got just a little bit of spare money, you're like, all right, yeah, car part time to get new parts. And it was great. It was fun. I don't regret any of it. You will end up, losing and gaining along the way, but if you're in the mindset now of you have a goal for your car and you want it to get to that goal, stick to that mindset. As long as you can keep pushing forward for it and keep working towards what you want, it'll come. Your timeline might be a little bit longer or a little bit shorter than others, but don't compare your timeline to everybody else's. Everybody's timeline's meant to be different. If it was that easy, we'd all be driving, fancy, crazy stuff and nice $1 million homes and whatnot. The nice thing about this car is it really did help me stay motivated and start the side business, actually. So that was the other thing, is at the time I was, I was in debt. I had a few thousand I owed, and I really wanted to still be able to play with this. So I was thinking one night of ways that I could try to make a little bit more side money or a little hustle income. And then I started doing the stickers, started making shirts and stuff. And then that's how one thing led to another. I'm really thankful for the opportunity that this car made for me to be able to do the side business. And because of who I knew or who knew me because of the car, it was real easy to get a jump start on everything and start getting, a couple sales a week here, a couple sales there. Overall though, is if you have a goal, if you have a dream, and even if your goal is as small as, okay, I just want to remember to take the trash out next week, just remember it, do whatever you need to do to make sure you get your goal. I work any hours of the night, any hours of the day, because I still work a full-time job now, but I have my side job or side business to where I'm still doing my printing work and whatnot. And it's wake up, do work for myself, go to my day job, come home, do more work for myself. And just, the cycle just keeps going and going, which I will never complain about it. I am very, very thankful for the opportunities I've had, for the position I'm in with this car. It just keeps opening up more doors as the years go on. And it's been a blessing along the way ever since. I appreciate you guys coming along the way to listen to the story. Again, my name is Gage. This was my 07 Chevy Cobalt SS that I built along the way through college. Let's finish this up and go for a ride.
Got me holding the damn laptop too, buddy. Look at that. Oh, I just doxed you. Just kidding. Has everything you've done ruined the drivability?
Yeah, kinda. So, with the lightweight flywheel, no balance shafts in it, and the super light clutch, it makes it, you have to shift it pretty quick, and then even trying to move in a parking lot, the first gear is really jerky because of the cam chop, and then it just really, really touchy because of the throttle body size, the intake, everything just kind of stacks on top of itself and just makes it a little worse.
What blow-off valve's on it?
eBay,
baby.
eBay blow-off valve, eBay wastegate.
Shout out eBay. This thing pulls fucking awesome, dude. We almost just smoked that bird. These have LSDs from the factory too, right?
Some do, some don't. Mine didn't, but now it has a locker in the transmission that we put in.
Okay.
I do have a Cortex though to try to limit boost in first and second.
I can't even hold a focus steady, dude. Holy shit. Hell yeah, dude, this thing's a ripper.